Hey gang, this is Coach Rozy coming back with you. What we're doing today is we're videotaping. We appreciate Monday we did our Elevation Nation boot camp. I want to thank everyone for joining in. We want to thank you for the feedback you gave. We're recording this today, so this isn't live. We're recording this workout. Got Coach Renette here coming in. What we're doing today, because some of your great feedback is, we have some folks who say, hey Coach, I do have some dumbbells. I have some resistance training. I know some of you might have a workout bench at home. Well, because of what some of you are asking for, what we're going to show today and what we're recording is we're actually going to do a resistance training workout with dumbbells. You don't need a bench. If you have some light dumbbells, maybe you want to go to the store and get some, 8, 10-pound dumbbells. We're going to take you through a workout with Coach. She's going to show you, I'll be behind, showing you our warm-up, but then getting resistance training with dumbbells. What you got to make sure is, and we talked about this yesterday, don't be scared to modify. We'll show some modifications. But I know Coach is going to be using 10-pound dumbbells. One of the things you have to do, like for the 10-pounders, the squats and the chest are probably going to be pretty easy. When we start getting over to the shoulder, arm work, 10 pounds maybe might be too heavy for you, so you might need to adjust it. Instead of going, like here we're doing 3 sets of 12, you might do 3 sets of 8. We're going to show modifications where I can set one dumbbell down and use one dumbbell. So now with 2 arms, I'm using 10, so it's 5 each arm. So we'll show you some different examples. We'll get you rock and roll. I know some folks yesterday said too, hey, if you could turn the music up, it'd be great. One of the things we want to try to make sure that I'm trying to do is make sure we're talking about technique and form. And so what I'll tell you to do is, if you can, we'll turn the music up a little bit, but one of the things you can do is put some music on yourself, crank that up. You maybe can still, after the first few cues and you start getting into it, I know music can be a motivator, so push that, pump that up. I'm going to bring Coach stretching out on the side, she said, from the other, because they usually use weights to change the exercise, change the movement sometimes, gets you a little bit sore, so she's getting warmed up extra. She's going to come in, she'll take you through the warm-up again. Hey, and this was the other thing, I had a couple people write, follow through on the warm-up if you can, and make sure you get a warm-up in. I know some people are like, well, I missed the first 5 or 10 minutes, but that was warm-up anyway, so I was able to get into the workout. I want to make sure the reason we do the warm-up is get your body ready, get prepped to do what we're going to ask you to do, especially with the weights that we're going to do. Follow Coach along with the warm-up. Coach, you ready to rock and roll? All right, turn the music up. We're going to start rocking and rolling here. And we're just going to start off with our movement prep, which is just, Coach, just go high knees. We're going to follow pretty much the same this week, in the first week or two. It's going to be the same warm-up just so you can follow a pattern. I know sometimes people think, well, this gets boring. We just want you to know we're doing 10 high knees, then we're doing our reach and pull. I think we're pushing through, and if you can see Coach is pushing her hips up and through, reach those arms back to get the shoulders loosened up, loosen up through the hip flexors. I want to think lifting long. I don't necessarily want to hyperextend my back. As I'm reaching up, you want to think lifting long. Then once she gets 10 there, she's going to get her shoulder rolls in. Just follow along with Coach so you can see she's going forward. And a lot of times what you can also do with this is change your hand position. So right now Coach has her thumbs forward. If you go with your thumbs up, by changing that position, you're stretching a different area that you might find that's a little bit tight. Now we're going through the arm circles, forward and backwards. Again, I can change my hands, my thumbs in, my thumbs up, my thumbs down by changing that position. We're going to go forward, then we're going to go backwards with that, so we're changing direction. And that isn't bad. You can see coaches get a little bit of rotation. I can get a little bit of rotation now, which works all the way through my shoulders, gets down into some of that back area. Because then when we get into our squats, which are going to be next, squats with arm reach. So it's kind of like that reach and pull, but now we're getting more depth. I want to change that height level. So think center of gravity, we're dropping to the ground. I'm starting to get those ankles loosened up, those knees loosened up a little bit. Because when we start getting to our goblet squat and our lateral lunges, we want to make sure our hips and everything are loosened up. Then we're just going to our twist, side to side. And again, Coach does a great job with this. Renette does a great job. If you look down towards her feet, she's letting that backside heel rotate. So as I go to my left, I want to make sure my right foot's coming off the ground and rotate. If you look, it's able to release and let my hips rotate through, which she's doing a fantastic job with. Then we're just going to go into our jumping jacks. Again, if some of us have a hard time with that contact, that jumping, I can go into side step jumps. like you can handle the jump. Otherwise, same thing, gets the hips loosened up a little bit. We start adding a little bit of load to the joints. And then from there, we're just doing our hip torso circles. Pushing through. Then right from here, we're going to go into our dynamic warm-up. And with our dynamic warm-up, just nice and easy, we're just going to go 5 on each side as soon as coach gets her circles clockwise. Then don't forget, I have to go the other direction counterclockwise. If I even want to make it a little bit more dynamic, I can get my hips to turn and rotate like we did with the twist. This should start getting you warmed up. Move it a little bit. Coach, I didn't turn that fan on. If you need the fan, we can get the fan. You're doing good. We're going to go up and over now. Remember, I'm taking that knee out, up and over. But we're turning. Coach does a great job of this too, staying nice and tall. She's not trying to get her knee up higher by tipping over to the side. We're just going 5 each. I'm going to go right side up and over, left side up and over. I always say just think like you're stepping over a small fence into your garden. Now once you got into the garden, now I got to get out of my garden, so we're coming up, out, and over. So same thing, I'm trying to get those hips loosened up as much as I can. So I keep my body tall and tight. I'm going 5 on the right side, 5 on the left side. Then we're going to go into our inside toe tap. I'm doing 5 each side. We're doing internal and external hip rotation. You shouldn't feel this through your knees. So I'm doing internal then internal rotation right now with coach, and you can see that knee is down. She's tapping her foot up, trying to bring that foot up to the outside. Gonna do 5 on each side there. Then from here, I'm gonna go a knee grab. Oh, excuse me, Coach, I jumped in front of you on that one. My bad. I'm going to toe grab, backside toe grab to a lunge and rotate. Again, we talked about this on some of the other videos if you've been watching. On that backside, I want to make sure I'm pulling my heel away from my backside. I don't want to just crank my foot up. See how coach, when she moves, she almost hides that knee and brings it back behind her hip. By bringing that leg back, you're stretching out your hip flexor. You're still going to get a back stretch, but if I'm just cranking that foot up to my backside, puts a lot of pressure on my knee joint. It can, especially if I'm not tracking correctly. So just make sure you're careful with how you're doing that, pulling that leg back. And actually, and then when I step through, I want to make sure that knee's not over my toe. We're just going to go 5 on each side, or 3 on each side. 3. Last one. If something's tight on you and you want to go a little extra, especially because this is recorded, you can go a little bit longer, put it on pause if you need to. So if as we're going through this warm-up, if something would be tight, don't be scared. That's tight from the other day. Coach said her hamstrings were barking a little bit. So that's toasting with her. She's just going to do 3 on each side here for time. But again, if you needed to, you could pause this and get an extra. Maybe you're going to do 5 or 6, or later in the day, you can take some of these exercises. If your hips are loose, that's fantastic. If your hamstrings are tight, might be an area where you need to work out a little bit more. So as coach goes down through, she's doing a knee grab, toe grab. She's doing that knee grab when she comes down. She's not just grabbing that toe, but watch, she's taking that toe, going to do a little gas pedal, and then a little side-to-side windshield wiper. When you do that and reach with both hands, you're going to feel how that really changes it up and gets a stretch from the inside, outside, and middle of that hamstring and all the way down into the calf. Great job, coach, doing them 3 on each side. Last one. Then from there, we're going to go into our world's greatest stretch. Okay, we're rock and rolling again. We're going back now into our world's greatest. We had a little bit of a glitch there on our storage, so we had to change out our iPad. So hopefully we were right back into this. If you notice anything a little bit different, we're using one of our other iPads. But coach is going into our world's greatest. Remember, again, I'm stepping forward. If I step with my left, I'm taking that left elbow, I'm rotating to my left, and I'm doing my left pigeon. On the side, we're just doing a few on each side, so I'm coming back on that right lunge. I'm stepping right. She's taking that right elbow down to the ground, then she's gonna rotate over to the right, and she's laying over right pigeon. Laid herself out to stretch through. Great job with coach right there.
Ooh, I'm
sore. She's sore from workout the other day, and she works out like a beast 3-4 days a week doing Coach Rozy. She not only does it, she leads Coach Rozy boot camps too. She just said like a lot of the body weight stuff, because some of the newer movements that we added on. So you might be doing this even for a long time. So think about if you're a newbie If you're a newbie, you might be a little bit sore today, so make sure from one of the other days, I know we're recording this, I'm doing my lateral alternating lunge. So coach just stepping out. Again, if you look where she's tracking through that knee on my step out, the backside leg stays straight. That knee isn't going outside the toe. We want to stretch out through that groin. Great job. As I'm sliding through, keeping my hips level. Now we're just going to go to what we call our floor prep work. Coach is going to just lay back, and what we're doing is we're doing hamstring bridges. She's going to do 10 bridges for 2 legs. Her hamstrings are a little bit tight today, so we're adding a little bit of extra movement prep. So she's going through her hamstrings. She's going to go 10 with 2 legs. Then what she's going to do is take one leg, take it up to the ceiling, and push through. If you can look what she's doing with her feet and her heels. She's keeping, yep, that foot goes straight up. She's pushing through on that heel on the down leg. She's pushing, her toe is off the ground, and she's actually pushing through that heel. You get a little bit more, from my standpoint, you get a little bit more activation. Going back to the other side, so really look at that heel on that right leg. She's pushing through. I know I've had some coaching buddies say it really doesn't make that big of a difference. I believe we get a little bit more activation. It keeps folks from pushing through their toe and lifting that heel off the ground. From there, coach is going to flip over and she's going to do what we call scorpion. Her arms are going to be out to the side. She's taking her right foot to her left hand, then her left foot to her right hand. She's going to go 5 each side. This is a great stretch for the hip flexor, lower back, and even you can see she's getting some mobility through her shoulder work. Pretty good all-around body exercise. So she's just going to go 5 each direction. We call this our scorpion stretch. Some folks have a hard time maybe getting that foot up to the hand. You're going to go to where you can. And then right from here, coach is going to go, we call it our quad. So she's going to be on all fours. Shoulder stretch, you want to turn kind of an angle, coach. Right there, like that's good. And all we're doing is she's dropping shoulder down to shoulder down. You're keeping that backside arm straight. You just got to be a little bit careful on this one. Start off, if you can't get all the way down, coach, you want to show just a short modification. So I might only go right from here. So coaches, you might be a person with really tight shoulders. That might be all the farther you can go, is just a little bit side to side. So go to your range, and all these things we're doing for our movement prep, you're going to go to your range. Try not to stay with coach, and there's some things I know that coach would even tell you. There's some areas where she's tight, so she has to work a little bit harder at. From here, gang, we're going to do a weight warm-up. So this is where I'm going to take 1 dumbbell. And what we're going to do is we're doing just 6 reps on each side. So coach is going to do a dumbbell clean. And what we're going to do is she does 6 of these. You can start, coach. See how coach is bringing her elbow up to catch? She's not doing a reverse curl. A lot of times we'll have folks that they'll keep their elbow next to their body. Right from there, I'm going to go into 6 squats. I'm doing everything just on my right side, and then we're going to come back and we'll do it on our left side. I'm going to my overhead shoulder press. On my 6th one from there, I'm going to overhead press and hold. Then I'm going to go into a lunge. So if the dumbbell's in your right hand, I'm lunging 6 to my left on my left side. Then from there, she's just going to stand up nice and tall, and she's going to do 6 curls. This is just still some of our movement prep work we're getting in. Coach gets 6 curls. Then she's going to go over and switch the dumbbell to her other hand. So unilateral loading on this one side. So she has 6 clean. She does a great job of keep that elbow up nice and high and flips. Again, I don't want to do a reverse curl. Make sure on that squat, I'm just keeping it at shoulder level, pushing my hips back. If you needed to, you can carry that dumbbell down by your knee and your side, but this goes into right into our overhead shoulder press for 6. Then right from here, she's going to take that and go into her lunge for 6. Gang, this is a great workout and a great complex too, that if you only had 10, 15 minutes, you could literally go through this to see how many rounds am I going to get through in 10 minutes. Do 6 on your right side, 6 on your left side. As soon as you're done, you could go back to repeat. So if you had a 10-minute workout, this would be a great workout if you had a dumbbell. Now what we're going to do, gang, if you need to, you can take a little bit of a break, get a drink if you need one. We're going to go right into it. Oh, you're going to get a drink, coach? We're going to go just right into this. But again, because this is recorded, you can tape it. Coach is going to go right into her goblet squat. We're going for 15. And you can see coach is keeping her chest up. Now here's one of the things we talk about in squatting, gang. my back wants to stay flat. It doesn't necessarily have to stay vertical. So my shoulders, as long as my shoulders aren't getting over my knees, I'm not bending forward, or my knees aren't getting in front of my toes, then from there we're just gonna go lateral lunge. This is just like with our warm-up. If you look, Coach does a fantastic job of, as she's stepping, her toes are forward, her knee is staying in line. If we took a picture of Coach, I could take a picture from her ankle to her knee, and that's what's gonna be vertical. Backside leg is staying straight. I could draw a straight line from there. The chest is up and I'm dropping my booty back like you're sitting in a chair. When she's done here, you can take a little bit of a break. I don't know how long, Coach, probably she won't take much of a break. We're using a little bit lighter weight than Coach is normally using, just because I figure most of you have weights at home are gonna have 6, maybe 5, maybe 8, maybe 10-pound dumbbells. Some of you might have heavier. So normally Coach would use, Coach, on your goblet squat, you normally lose 30 or 40. And then she switched. So what we're showing here is, if I don't have a variety, like here, you can see the dumbbells behind her. We'd add variety within the workout. Here, what we're gonna do is she's just using the same weight, second set. So she's going through this pretty quick, gang. If you're not used to using resistance, if you have to take an extra little bit of a break, put this video on pause for a minute or two and then come back to it, you sure can. If you need to do 3 sets of 12, 3 sets of 10, 2 sets of 8 to start with. If some of you are grinders in a machine, you might do 4 sets of 15. So this is just giving you some basic guidelines, the platform, but you can adjust and make changes as you go. I can change the load, I can change the reps, I can change the total volume of what I'm doing on this. If some of you have access maybe to the gym, maybe you could go to squats to lateral lunges and actually use a bar on your back. What we're doing, so when we look at our basic movement patterns, this is gonna be getting our squat and also our hip hinge in. We talk about, we wanna squat in different angles and different positions. We also wanna get a hip hinge in. So we're hitting 2 of our movement patterns with this complex right here, our goblet squat and lateral lunge. We're doing 15 each side on my lateral lunge. That's not 15 total. Coach is getting 15. If it would start to happen, that form or technique would start to break down, make sure never sacrifice weight or movement. Cut your reps down if technique starts to go bad. Again, Coach is going right into her 3rd set. We might need a little bit of a break. So like I said, if you need to take a pause, grab a drink, don't worry, that's not a problem. That's okay to do. Coach is rocking this out. And again, there's some things you can modify. If you have questions, don't be scared to email us. I'll have contact information below. You can email us about how to maybe change up the program, change up an exercise if the weight you're using is too much and you say, look, I got 15-pound dumbbells and I can't do some of these movements. We can give you some alternatives of what you can do. Great job, Coach. Pushing through. After this, I'm going to have Coach grab a quick drink just so some of you maybe can catch up just a little bit. Normally we'd take in between, we'd take a 15 to 30 second break. In between, you can take a minute to a minute and a half if you need to. Again, I'm going to have Coach grab a drink. If you're on a little bit behind, that's not a problem. But that's one of the other things you can do, gang. This is a great workout that you can do even without resistance on something like the goblet squat to lunges. I can do a tempo workout to be able to change it up. I'm going to have Coach grab just a quick drink. If you're trying to catch up, because what we're going to do next is we have a mat down. Coach is going to do some chest work from the floor. So we're doing our push, and then we're also doing a pull. We're doing a pull over. I'm going to use 2 dumbbells for this. So what you're going to notice when Coach lays down, what I want to make sure is when I bring my arms down, my arms should come down about 90 degrees. I want to have control coming down. I don't want to slam my elbows into the ground. Coach, you want to show this, depending if that's heavy, you want to go ahead and set the weights down, just sit up once. Good way to grab these, gang, is if you have a little bit, maybe it's a little bit heavy weight that you can't grab, I'm going to bring that dumbbell to my thigh, bring that other dumbbell to my thigh. Then as I sit back, I can help, my legs and my body can help bring those weights up depending on how much weight you're using. Coach, you're just going to go 15 presses. And you can see from this angle, you can see when she comes down, those forearms, her wrist and her elbows in a pretty good direct line. even if I bring my elbows down a little bit, I want to make sure that there's a good line between my forearms and my elbows and my wrist. She's doing 15 presses. I don't know if you can hear that clanking. She's bringing those dumbbells together. Then from here, she's going to go into a pullover, dumbbell pullover. So she's using her lats to pull. Here's one right here, gang. If this was tough for you to do, keep those arms straight, coach. Don't be cheating. Oh, she was going to change out. I'll show you. On the next set, I'm going to show you a little bit something that we can do to change this up. And we're going to modify it by using one dumbbell. So I'm going to have coach finish through. She'll do 15. Again, work on this. Make sure your legs are bent, your feet are flat on the ground, and push through your back. I don't want you arching your back on this as I'm reaching through. Sometimes you'll see folks do this on a bench so they can get a little bit more range of motion. You can definitely do your chest press and your pullovers on a bench if you have one. We just wanted to show from the floor that I could get some floor work done and I don't need a lot of equipment. I just need a set of dumbbells. Coach is going to rest real quick. Coach, on the next one, just show with one dumbbell how to do the press. So if, let's say you're using 10 and just 20 pounds is just way too much for you, on this set, what coach is going to do, she's going to grab the 10 pounds, she's holding it lengthways. Ready to go, coach. And she's just going to do 15 presses, so she's holding one dumbbell with both hands. So maybe you have 15-pound dumbbells, 20-pound dumbbells, something that's maybe a little bit too much for you to hold one dumbbell in each hand. So I'm just going to do one dumbbell holding through. Again, she's going to go 15. And then with my pullover, exact same thing. I'm just holding the dumbbell the length, and I'm doing my pullover. So just changes up the resistance that you're using, changes up the movement just a little bit, but it gives me a way to modify the exercise so that I can take that exercise and literally by modifying it, we're able to do is you can work out, maybe you and your husband or a significant other or husband and wife are working out, or boyfriend, girlfriend, or significant other. I can take a group of people. That's why in our boot camp classes, we can take a large group, large variety. We can modify the movements to match up what you need to do. I know that was easy for Coach. She's smiling because she usually uses more weight than that. She said, Coach, I need to get a workout in today. She's going right back into it. Normally, again, you might take a little bit longer break. Coach is going right into her presses. And again, I know for her, this 10 is really, really easy, so she's making this look easy. If you get to the point, like she's going to go 15, you might get to the point where at 10 and 11, that starts to get hard. That's not a problem. Just do 3 sets of 12, or you might do your first set of 15, your second set of 12, and your third set might be to 10, and then build up to your set of 15. Some folks might be asking too, this takes some pressure off the shoulders the way the coach is carrying those dumbbells. I can turn those dumbbells out. Coach, you want to turn your palms in? Come that way. What that does, gang, you might feel that a little bit more on the shoulders. We usually have the dumbbells towards the inside just because it relieves some pressure off. That's light enough for Coach that she's not going to have a problem with that. But if you needed to, again, I could just take my palms and take them to the inside. That's going to release some of the shoulder pressure that you might feel. So hand position plays a big key on how you're doing it. She's going to get up.
Remember, you start where you start. That's what we all do. You know?
Yeah.
Sometimes they're easy for me. I started a lot lighter when I started doing this. So.
Exactly. So yeah, Coach didn't start off grabbing 30, 40-pound dumbbells. Not even close. She started building up. So hopefully you're catching up. Coach grab another quick drink. Again, if you need to pause the video, pause the video. The next one we're going to do is straight leg deadlifts. But you want to turn just like at a 45 degree. What we're doing here, as Coach goes down, I want you to be able to see. First thing she's doing, we're doing, we got 15 of these 3x15. This is what we call our hip hinge. If you notice that Coach's first movement is, she's bopping her butt back just a little bit. So I say if you were 6 inches from the wall, your first thing you should do is your butt should tap the wall. Then you should be able to take yourself down.
And I have really tight hamstrings, so I can't go down very far.
Yeah, Coach's hamstrings are a little bit tight. One of the things you can do is if you have some pain on the back of the knee, bend your legs slightly. You can bend your knees slightly a little bit, but the key here is I should feel this through my glutes, my butt, and down through my hamstrings. I should not feel this through my lower back. If you're feeling this through your lower back, I'm telling you right now, stop doing the exercise send a video of you maybe doing 1 or 2 reps, send it to us, and we'll help correct your form, because this should be a hamstring booty exercise and not a lower back exercise. You might feel a little bit of a stretch there. Yeah, you really rock. Coach is feeling this in her hamstrings. And as you notice, as she was going down, she did go outside her knee. Now here on my upright row, Coach, you want to show bad form on 1 rep? There, yeah, there you go. That's a reverse curl of what she was showing. My elbow should be higher than my shoulders. So there you go, great job. As Coach is doing this, sometimes this becomes back to shoulder mobility, okay? Same thing, I could maybe do my straight-legged deadlifts. On the next round, I'm gonna have Coach show just doing 1 or 2 reps with just 1 dumbbell. So the next round, we can modify again. We can modify if using 2 10-pound dumbbells or 2 15-pound. But Coach does a great job where those elbows are coming up and through. Coach, you want to show just 1 hold with 1 dumbbell for a set? So again, if the weight's an issue, Coach is just gonna go hold 1 dumbbell. The movement pattern's the same, but where I'm holding my resistance. And if you look down, I always say, if she bent over and dropped that weight, she'd break her big toes. So if you would drop the weight and it would land 2 or 3 inches in front of your toe, you're probably leaning forward with your shoulder, and you're gonna feel this in your back. The key here, again, is to push my hips back, and if you drop that weight, again, it should hit your shoelaces. It should not hit out in front of your toes. Coach doing a great job there with 15. Then right from here, she's just gonna hold the 1 dumbbell and go back to her upright row. When she's done with her 15, then she'll go back, I know, on her last set to double. But again, gang, don't be scared to modify to your level. And I know I'm talking a lot. Yeah, this is control. And a lot of times people will say with resistance, if you haven't done a lot of resistance training, folks say, well, how fast should I move? Should I count? I'm not a big count guy, I am a big control guy. If counting helps you, that's fantastic. I always say make sure you move the weight, don't let the weight move you. So here, Coach is just using 1 dumbbell, and a lot of times using the 1 dumbbell can help with getting those elbows up and through unless you have tight shoulders. That's why we're using 2 dumbbells and lighter weight sometimes will help, but the key here is I'm trying to pull up and through. Coach is shaking out her legs, shaking out her shoulders. She's feeling on her hammies a little bit, I can tell. We got 1 more set of 3 by 15. Now she's going back to her 2 sets of dumbbells. I'm just gonna let you watch. I'll shut up for a little bit. That's the coach in me. The coach is doing a great job. Again, if I took a stick and laid along her back, you can see the stick would be straight. It'll go straight off the back side. I wouldn't be rolling, so the stick should point towards the wall. If I'm rolling my back, the stick's actually gonna go and point up towards the ceiling. Excuse me. Wanna make sure I'm pushing back. Coach is able to come through. If you need to bend your knees a little bit, again, if there's any pressure on the back of your knees, feel this the hamstring, you just bend your knees just a little bit more to relieve some of that pressure through your knees. Coach is going through for 15 reps there, and I'm back to my upright row. Again, too, when we're talking about lifting weights, make sure as I'm doing the exercise, I don't know if you can tell or not, but Coach is breathing through every rep. She's not holding her breath. What you can do is, like if you work with heavier resistance, as I'm doing a rep, you might take a breath and hold that through that rep or range of motion. But once I come back to my start point, I take a breath and then resist and hold again. Coach setting her weights on. I'm going to have you get a quick drink, Coach. Again, you just catch up if you need to. Pause the video if you need to. Where we're going to go next is our shoulders. And I know we've been rocking our shoulders pretty good this week. What we're going to do is an Arnold press, and what we're going to do with the Arnold press, we're getting a press movement in. This adds some rotation for those rotator cuffs. So what Coach is going to do, she started with her palms toward her, and as she presses up, she's going to rotate so palms are away. Yep. Pinky to thumb. Pinky at the bottom, thumbs to the top. Pinky at the bottom, thumbs to the top. And she's going full range of motion. She's letting her elbows come down and meet and come down. And at the top, I'm getting full extension towards the top. We're just doing 3 sets of 12 here. On some of those other more complex areas like our squats and our chest press, our squats, we're using hamstrings, quads, our hips, kind of different, multiple compound exercise. Floor press, we're using our shoulders, our chest, our arms. Then from here, I'm going to do front raise. Yeah, show them modify. If that's too heavy, because my shoulder press, my coach just dropped down. Now she's just going to do one. One of the things I want to point out, she's doing a great job. She's pausing just for a brief count at the top. Again, she's controlling the weight. Coach, you want to show something with back form, just kind of flop it. So this is with Coach's shoulders. If you see the movement's coming through her hips, she's keeping her shoulders down and back. We always say pull your belly button to your spine. I still should be able to breathe, but I'm getting good movement through the shoulder complex and not through my lower back and throwing everything out of whack. So take a quick little break. We're coming back. Yeah, if you can't Arnold press, maybe you have a dumbbell that Arnold press too hard, just what Coach was showing right there, I can go to a straight overhead press. Reason we like the Arnold press to change up and modify is that rotation gets a little bit into those smaller muscles in the shoulders. That helps work to stabilize. So a lot of our athletes will do rotational movements through the shoulders. And where you find out is by doing this rotational movement, it helps keep that shoulder solid. So we'll add a little bit of rotation component in. Even when we're doing sometimes our lateral raises, our lateral to the side, our front raises, our bent over, we'll add a little bit of movement. So here's an example too. Coach, you want to show like a rotation, bring my knuckles together. So as I come up, we'll bring them together this way. There we go. So that's just, so we're adding a rotation component there. You're gonna feel that completely different than if I just do my front lateral raises. That might get to be too much weight because if I just front raise, but if with that rotation, it adds a different component, gets those shoulders rocked and locked out. Good control, that'll get you. So that rotation adds a completely different component into what's going on. So I don't have to add the rotation. Again, I can do one dumbbell, I can do front raise, I can add some rotation into the component, and it just starts working some of those smaller muscles. One more set, Coach. Last set. We're rocking and rolling. Coach just doubling up. So this is just the regular. We have the Arnold press to the front raise. She's going to get rotation on the Arnold press. When she finishes up on the front raise, she won't add any rotation on this last one. But if you maybe have a lighter weight that you think, man, this is pretty easy for me, then you can maybe go ahead and add that rotational component. If it's heavy, take just one dumbbell and do your front raise. Coach is going to use two on this last one. You're just going to go side, just go coming straight up. We come about up to chin to eye level. The reason we don't come all the way up overhead is because a lot of times what we see as people bring it down, it puts undue stress on that shoulder complex. So what we do is we're going to come put tension on the muscle about, like I say, chin to eye level, somewhere in there, then control bringing it back down. Coach's shoulders are starting to talk to her a little bit right there. She's going to take a quick break. Then when we come back, what we're doing is we're doing biceps and triceps. And I really didn't put it specific because what we'll show here is some different movements. So the first one is Coach is just going to do traditional curls with her palm up. There we go. Next time I'm going to have her show hammer curls. Our triceps, first round I'm going to have her do tricep kickbacks. Now we're doing 3 sets of 20 here. We're increasing the number a little bit higher. So she's going to go 20 curls. Then what I'm going to do is have her do kickbacks. And when it says tricep exercise, first round we're going to do kickbacks. Second round I'm going to have her do hammer curls to overhead extensions. If you watch what she's doing, a great job right there. She's keeping her elbows right next to her body. She's not letting the arms swing, and she's getting good extension on the backside. I don't want to get my arms swinging. A lot of times you'll see folks, they'll keep their arms at 90 degrees and swing from the shoulder. You're just getting another shoulder exercise in. We don't necessarily want to do that. We want to make sure we're kicking back. We're doing 20 reps there. That'll get you rocking right there a little bit. She'll take a quick break. Then when we come back, I'm going to show you how we do hammer curls. And literally all hammer curls is it's just changing your hand position. Still working the biceps, but it isolates in a different area. How's that feel, Coach? I know you're not heavy as normal, but it can still get you. We're going a little bit higher reps because we figure some of you might be using a little bit lighter weight. You can't adjust some of the weight, so we're changing up the reps. So on this one, we're going to do hammer curls on the second set. Coach is going to do hammer curls. What this is she's keeping her thumbs up. So the other one, the thumbs were out. This time my thumbs are going to be up. after her 20 here, what she's going to do is she's going to do overhead extensions. And she'll use you're going to use 2 or 1 on the extensions? Just 1. So coach will show you, you can use 2 dumbbell, but she's going to go to 1. Just, you have a little bit more control with 1 dumbbell compared to 2 dumbbells, but depending on weight, you could use 2. You can just show them from the side right there. There you go. And if you look, we say your arms are earmuffs. Her arms are covering her ears. She's touching up to the ceiling, coming back through. Her elbows are pointed up towards the ceiling. Great form, coach. So we're doing tricep extensions. You can see this might put a little bit of stress. So if you have some elbow issues, maybe some shoulder issues, that's why we modify, and we'll show the kickback exercise to be able to do, because this can put a little bit of stress on the shoulders and the elbows in this position. So just be aware that you know, if there's some type of injury or pain that you're dealing with. The next one we're going to do is what we call cowboy curls. So she's going to alternate, and she's going to bring the dumbbell up and rotate it in and down. So we're going to do cowboy curls coming in. She's looking at me, she gave me a dirty look because she knows this is going to get it. Just do 10 each arm for a total of 20. So what she's going to do is she's going to come up regular, but I'm rotating over. This is a great one, gang, for your forearm rotation. A lot of time with carpal tunnel, because you're getting that forearm work all the way through, and I'm getting a rotational component into those forearm and into that joint. So I'm going to get that elbow joint loosened up a little bit. I got to have good control. I'm just doing 10 each way. Nice job. Then you do 10 each. Then from there, again, what I'm doing, I'm going to go back to my kickbacks, but I'm going to do alternating kickbacks. I'll do 10 each side. So if you watch what coach is doing, she's going to alternate right arm, left arm. Now, if I want to add a little bit extra juice, coach, keep them both extended. Now bring 1 forward, 1 back. Is that too heavy, too much? No, keep them both back.
Keep it back.
Yeah, keep it back. All right, so that's too much, so you can see. So that would be too much weight for coach right there to hold that isometric hold, to be able to do that. So but there's different movements you can do. So it's not always that you have to get locked into doing 1 exercise. You can modify, you can change exercise by having dumbbells. I can do kickbacks, I can do alternating kickbacks, I can do overhead extensions, I can go back to my dips that we showed during the week. Close grip push-ups are going to get triceps. Great job, coach. We're going to grab a quick drink, then we're going to finish up with our windmills. This gets some of our side oblique work done. And it's a really great mobility exercise. We like to a lot of times finish up with this. See, coach is just taking 1 dumbbell holding overhead. She's just letting that dumbbell down by her leg just slide down as far as she can. And what you can see is she's pushing her hip away from the dumbbell, out and away. That other dumbbell should stay straight up, touch the ceiling. She does a great job with pushing her hips out and through. Your goal is to get down to your sock, if you can. Then we'll go to the other side. 3 sets of 10. We got 3 sets of 10. We're going 10 on each side. Good control here. And this is a great movement, gang. Even if it was too hard, maybe you're going to set the dumbbells down and work it as more of a stretch to get, you can set the dumbbells down and use it as a mobility stretch. We'll sometimes do this at the beginning, or we'll use it as an end, as a cool down. We'll just literally drop the weights and have folks be able to go through the windmill movement just because it gets a good stretch. You're going to feel this stretch on that outside. You can see as coach goes down, if you look towards the backside, the C, if you went from the ankle all the way down through the shoulders, you can see the C position that she's getting into. Great stretch. You're going to feel this all the way from your lat armpit, all the way down through your knee, maybe even down into your ankle. Your goal is, like we say, you want to slide down. You might only get to your knee, you might get to your calf. If you can get to the top of your shoe, that's fantastic. Depends where your mobility's at. She's smiling. That's her goal. Coach is working to get down to her sock. So he just says, well, I'll just wear knee-high socks, right? The coach does a great job right there. And I know over the time period, coach's mobility has increased too. When we first started, she was tight. She still thinks she's pretty tight. She actually has pretty good mobility, but she's working on trying to get more mobile over time. Especially if you do a lot of resistance training, gang, don't forget the warm up at the end, and then at the end to try to do maybe some stretchy cool down if you have a foam roller. Maybe one of these days we'll just go through a foam rolling workout and show everybody how to do foam rolling. If you have a foam roller, tennis ball, a golf ball, you can use some of those to roll and stretch out, which is a fantastic way to just get loosened up before or after a workout. So this will be the last set. There you go. So that wraps it up, gang. You can do this every day. Like I say, you can change it up, do a couple of the different exercises. If you have just a short period of time and do your complex 1 and 2, you might do that for a day. We appreciate you joining us. If you have questions, email us. If there's something you have to see, would like to see, we can definitely videotape that and get it to you. This is Coach Rozy, Coach Renette. Thanks for joining us. Elevate. See you later.